So we are going to be jumping in. How exactly do you use other people's money? What you need to do. So joining us tonight inside Money Classroom is international mortgage broker and CEO of Wisdom Mortgages, Omar Wisdom.
What you doing?
Welcome to the Money Classroom, Omar. Big up yourself. That's what we say to everyone as they come in.
All right, big up, bless.
All right. So before we jump in, right, you're new to Money Classroom. Let
Yep.
us share a little bit about your background so people can hear where you're from, your expertise. And I know for a living, you help people to use other people's money to buy real estate, but we're going to get into that. Now, tell us a little bit about your background. Make the students know who you are, where you come from, and what you do.
Well, we come straight from yard, Reddy's Road, Blackwood Terrace. Um, Start my first business at 19 in Jamaica, t-shirt business. Move on to to Canada. Do all the ads and hand jobs and build myself to the point where I start my career off basically in the financial marketplace as a financial consultant. Then move straight into mortgages and grow myself to become the owner of my brokerage.
All right. And so, what's the name of your brokerage?
Wisdom Mortgage Group.
Nice. All right. And so, how long have you been doing real estate?
I would say a good 10, 15 years.
Long time. And so, and you're doing it in the Canadian real estate market, which is a huge market, right? And a play thing you're doing, running your company,
Yeah.
right? So, let's talk a little bit about how the real estate market is in Canada, so persons can get a little idea of what it's like, and then I can probably chip in on the Jamaican side to discuss some of the differences so people understand.
Well, we have had our ups and downs basically in the marketplace. As you can know before COVID, we have had a pretty good run. During COVID, we also have a great run in the marketplace. Then last year hits where the government decided to step in and cool the marketplace down, which means that we have to qualify our clients at a higher interest rate. So that kind of basically put a dent in the growth, or I should say slow down. But the last 2 months, we have seen some growth start pushing back up. So even though today we have another interest rate hike, but people are still buying, right? Because there are still ways to work towards getting what we want.
Right. So in Jamaica, the prices are skyrocketing too, right? People build last year apartment was set one bedroom apartment for like 28 million. This year you're seeing 35, 40 million, just like that. But like Canada, people still are buy.
Yeah.
There's still investors coming in. So what does that say? Do you think there's ever a point in real estate where you say, boy, house price too expensive now. I'm not, we can stop by real estate. Don't do it anymore. Do you think that will ever come?
No, because at the end of the day, no matter what era we're in, people, whether it be our parents or grandparents, they always say that it's expensive, right? So just a matter for us to be able to can be creative into making it work.
All right, so we're going to get into the creative. I see you hinting at it, you know. Um, we're going to bring out the expertise. Because you're using some words and people are picking up saying, wait there, creative, get creative to make it work. But soon touch on that. As I said, taste and buy, as I say,
Yeah.
right? So what led you into being a mortgage broker? Why did you decide to help people to access mortgages?
Well, basically, I'm always involved in the community too, right? And being a financial consultant, many years ago, I realized that especially our people really need help, right? We are coming from behind the eight ball. We are playing catch up, right? So I think it was my passion to step in and see what I can do to make some changes.
Right. All right. And so, an interesting thing with you being a mortgage broker and running your own brokerage firm is that you shop around for mortgages for persons, you shop
Absolutely.
around for deals, right?
Absolutely.
And in Jamaica, there are mortgage brokers that exist, but not really common. And not a lot of people know that, you can get somebody to shop around and call all of the banks for you and get the best rate for you. So talk a bit about how that process works so persons can understand, all right, what really does a mortgage broker do?
Okay, beautiful. In regards to the average person, see the bank as running straight to the bank to get their mortgage here in Canada, right? And what each bank provide their product and their product only. So as mortgage brokers and agents, we are able to scout around and look at all the lenders' um, products, basically, right? And match that product with the right client.
Right. So it doesn't mean then that the client have to go every single bank for themselves and carry in all of the forms or submit all the forms themselves. They submit it to you and you shop it around, get
Yeah,
all the different quotes, and then come back to the client and say, look here, this is the best rate.
absolutely.
So tell us about some of the deals you've gotten for persons.
And I should say too, I want to not just stop on the best rate because there's more to what makes
Right.
a mortgage a great mortgage than just the rate, right? I know that we're trained to look at the rate, but we also have to look at the structure of the deal. What's the repayment? Would they allow you to make extra payment to the mortgage? Are you able to pay it off sooner than before without penalties? But more importantly, how much is paying to the principal as to paying to the interest, right? So you have companies, lenders who will give you a discount upfront, but they're putting more of your monthly payments to the interest rate than to the interest than to the principal. So it's taking a longer to pay down your mortgage. So our job is to find that differential.
So it's not just about the rate you're saying, it's also
No,
the features,
it's a bait
right?
and switch to keep looking at the rate.
Right. So even in Jamaica, a lot of people say, yeah, this bank have the lowest rate. I go and go with them because them rate low.
Yeah,
And they stop there, and a lot of persons don't even see that. Wait there. There are other features, there are other terms with the mortgage.
yes,
How do I ensure that the whole package, the rate, the features, the terms really make sense for me? That's where you come in, you say you help persons to understand that.
absolutely.
Right. We have a question popping in from Purposely Driven. They're asking, can persons in Jamaica own real estate in Canada and the US? Is
Yes, you
that
can.
possible? Yes.
Yes,
Wait,
you
if I
can.
ring it, Omar, if I ring it out, and when you say that now, a brighter morning, Purposely Driven is coming to you. They're
Yeah,
gonna say,
man, you can do
Omar,
it. You can do it. What recently our government have tacked on a little extra tax in order for that to happen. But irregardless, it can be done.
right? And you assist persons from Jamaica to buy property overseas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mortgages. So purposely driven, you hear it, right? And that's one of the main things we're going to be bringing out at the conference, because a lot of people think, boy, we need the visa, we need the green card, we need the citizenship to be able to invest outside of Jamaica. You really don't.
No.
More and more, it's becoming easier to access different transactions all across the world. So when we're talking about Omar is going to go into way more detail other than, yes, it is possible. He's going to show you exactly what you need to do. Purpose driven. He's going to say, hey, do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you'll be able to get your property, right? So let us talk about some of the ways mortgages are done, because a lot of persons know about the banks and they'll say, oh, I just go to the bank and I get a mortgage. But there's also this new thing about private mortgages. What exactly is that? We know about the banks and everybody understands that. I go to the bank, submit my documents, they give me back interest rate and terms. And now I need to pay attention to the terms as well, because Omar says so. But what is a private mortgage? Because that exists in Jamaica and Canada and the US. Private mortgages are there, but a lot of people don't know about them.
Mhm.
So what is a
When it comes on the private mortgages break up into two type of private. You have the MIC, right? So you have the corporation that will lend funds for purchasing of home, right? And their criteria are a little less strict than the average average bank, A lender or B lender. So they're more of an equity lending. That's the best way to put it. They're equity lenders. If it is equity in the property, they will lend towards that.
So that means I can access money outside of a bank.
Absolutely.
Because so you work with the private mortgage persons as well. So you're saying different companies who lend, they're not banks, but they lend money to persons to buy real estate.
That's correct.
All right. So
So,
and are there more talk about a private lender versus a bank? Is it
all right.
harder to
So
use them, easier? You have to bring in 10 times more paperwork. How exactly is it?
a private lender, let's look at it just from a purchase point of view, right? So a private lender, you based on this, the restrictions that is happening in our space right now, where it's a little harder for the average person to qualify for a mortgage, basically. So there's standard that the banks wants or their clients to meet. Now that could be disrupted by the person have a blemish on their credit, right? So the private lender will say, okay, the credit is not too bad. Let's look at what money you have to put on the property, right? So if the money is there, normally 20% of minimum of the purchase, the private lender will lend more on a common sense approach, right? You have the ability to pay, you have your down payment, the deal is good to go.
And it works. So with the private lenders, you're saying they're a little more flexible.
More
You
flexible.
don't necessarily have to meet every single criteria. And some of us know it. The criteria can be long sometimes, right? We're going to be talking with one of our banks later to get their criteria and talk about their flexibility. But some banks are flexible. To be honest, some banks aren't. You have to bring every single document, the 50 pieces of paper, the 6-month job letter will show everything, all of the pay slip, all of the bank statement. It can be a lot. So the private lenders you're saying are more flexible in that
Yes.
they look and say, well, you don't have all of the pay slip, you have 3 months instead of 6 months, but we understand that you change job. So that's fine. And
Absolutely.
you're saying it with your company, that's what you do. You look at the
Yes.
banks and you look at the private lenders.
Yes, I sure want to make it clear that I also work with the banks too. So I will do deals with the banks if it makes sense
Got
for
you.
my client.
Right. And I said, some banks really flexible. We have one of them
Yeah.
coming on soon to talk about their different terms and how they do it. Now, the thing is, let's talk about some of the deals because we love to talk about the deals here. Every student inside Money Classroom love money.
Yeah.
So
Well,
give us some ideas of deals you've helped persons with in terms of mortgages. Stuff that you know could also apply wherever you are in the world. So a client probably from
mhm.
Jamaica who came overseas, or just deals that you know anybody can access, but people don't know about.
Well, where do I start?
You do a lot of deals, Omar. You do a lot.
Yeah, yeah, but everything depends on number one, money. So first thing out of the gate is that we have to make sure so the money clean, right? So let's establish that the money is traceable, because as you know, we're all about ensuring that there's no money laundering going on, right? Once the money is clean, we can make the deal work. Because like I said, if you can't qualify for a deal, we will put you in a B deal. And if you can't qualify for a B deal, you definitely can qualify for a private.
So you make sure it works. So let me give you some case studies then. So say I am Jamaican,
Hmm.
want to buy a little property in Canada. Me hear so much about it. I love Canada. I want to buy a property there. I don't really have, the full works of everything yet. I don't have all of my documents or everything yet.
Hmm.
What would you say that I could look at if I say, my heart set on buying something in Canada? I really love it.
So let's establish what the purpose of the purchase is. Are we buying to live, or we're buying to for investment?
For investment, I'm gonna get the papers yet, so
Yeah.
it's just gonna be an investment property, and one day I'll move there, and I probably can live there.
All right. So for a non-resident buying into Canada, we're looking at anywhere from 30 to 35% of down payment that is going to be needed. Once you meet that down payment, the next thing is to meet the criteria of income, right? So yeah, we have to have provable income, right? So if you have a business, most likely want to want access to your bank statements and access to your financials in general, right? And most likely your tax, including your tax documents.
All right. And then from that now, we take all of those into you.
Once I have all of that, I ensure that everything is on the up and up, right? Asking pertinent questions, and we will match you with a lender who will take the deal. And just to let you know, there are lenders out there who are looking for good deals. As long as the deal is good, lenders are willing to work with it.
So bring the paperwork and show you then.
Yeah, man.
Basically, bring the document, submit it to you as a broker. You're saying whether you're Jamaican, Trinidadian, Bermudan, any country, and you're looking to buy internationally, submit them to you, right?
Yes.
In Canada, I mean, submit to you. You can look through and you will shop it around to different lenders, right? So we don't have to feel then we need to have the money ourselves, because persons like you, companies like you exist that help persons to access mortgages.
Yeah.
But then following on that, because I know the students want to know, can I use the fact that I bought property in these countries to make my way to citizenship? Can I use the real estate route and say, well, I own one ounce in as an investment property? Can I use that to help me to get citizenship?
So I'm going to say it's a good path in when you start investing in country, because we have economic immigration, right?
Wait there. So we have to break that down, right? Inside the money classroom. So you're saying there's this thing, economic immigration, as you call it. So you say a path exists. And for a lot of us as students, when we hear that, we ears keen up because we say path exists. You're saying yes. So what is the path? Break it down, because people writing it.
So if you're going to bring certain amount of money to the country, the government already allotted for giving individuals and their families. Right, we call it green card in the States. We call it PR card here in Canada. And you get a PR card, providing that you meet that financial requirement.
Nice. So that can work. Then we start by doing investment properties, right? We'll be able to now show more documentation. We can use that to become a resident of US or Canada, which is good. We have a question coming in, right? What's the financial requirement, do you think?
I'm not quite sure what one, but I'm going to say anything over 250,000.
Right, which would be the property, right? 250,000 is around 25 to 27 million. So you're saying the property, we could use that and say, hey, look here, I own this thing. Consider me for immigration, which is a good path, and a lot of people don't know about it.
There are many other countries, the Asian countries take use of it all the time. So I think it's about time we start too.
We need to start, right? So that's why, look here, Omar is going to be there in the conference talking about this. You need to come tap him. Hey, Omar, so inside Money Classroom, you were talking about economic immigration. I'm here, all that work. And you and him can have a one-on-one discussion, which is what we want, right? We want to make connections. We want to network. We want to make deals. That's all going to be happening at the conference. So we have a question coming in from somebody who seems to know you. She seems to know you, Mr. Wisdom. She says, Mr. Wisdom looks familiar, maybe from prep school or high school. Anyhow, Mr. Wisdom, you mentioned that there are two types of private mortgage. One is a corporation. What is the other type?
The other type is ordinary people like me and you return into bankers, right? So we say we have the funds to lend and we can lend. But at the same time, there are rules that govern us doing that. So we still have to meet the criteria of making sure that we're not taking advantage of the borrower. And we have to also, again, show that the money is coming from clean legal sources.
So you're saying another way to access money to buy a house can be that I borrow from somebody who have the money, but not necessarily looking to go buy property themselves. They just say, I have some idle money here. I have a couple 100,000 or a couple millions. You know what? I lend some money to Patricia and say, Patricia, here, see a thing here, go and buy a house and pay me back interest.
Exactly. So basically, so look at it this way, right? Some investment account is returns or could be 2%, 3% a year. we facilitate where we can have our clients, the lender, who is making anywhere from 8 to 10% a year conservatively, right? Matching them up with the borrower that we also assess to ensure that the borrower is qualified to be able to can repay that mortgage.
So that sounds very lucrative. I'm going to ask two questions from that probably popping up for our students. One is, if I am buying as a Jamaican, can I access these private mortgages from the private lenders?
Now, again, that's going to be based on provable income, right? So we have to make sure that you're in a position to have the income to be able to can manage that.
And have the documents to
So,
show.
so that's the beauty about the fact that I'm straight from yard, so we can clarify certain things and ensure. And I've done where I can vouch for people based on information that I was able to seek. Yeah.
So you're from the yard, you understand yard, and you're here to help yard, right? Which is what I love a lot, because you're bringing your people along, right?
Exactly.
And showing different strategies. Now, the flip side of that, what if I'm a person with a little change and I say, I want to be a private lender because I never know this exists and my money is there now. How can I become a private lender? Is there anything that protect me? Do I have to go through a lawyer? How do I?
Everything that we do is done on the up and up and done with legal documents. So you're registered against the property, right? So we prefer you set up a business, and you are registered against the asset, and that's what real estate is: real asset, right? Touchable, tangible, and it's right there. So if that client, that person who borrowed that money, is unable to pay, we'll try to work with them, but within reason. If they're unable to pay, then we have to take actions where we most likely take by the house, sell the house, and your money is protected. If there's a fire or flood that destroy the property, it's covered by insurance that will replace the property, right? So it's actually more on the conservative type of lending. The risk is not, there's still some small risk, but there's no elaborate risk as if we're going to equity lending.
Right. So you're saying if I become a private lender, there's a legal system in place.
Yes.
A lawyer will draft up documents
Absolutely.
where I am lending, but in the event the person can't pay about the money, I'm tired for run them down. I have a step of a recourse that I can do. We sell the house, pay him about my money.
Yeah.
So then
we won't even let you get to where you're tired for run down, because we do all the running.
Gotcha.
But so far, knock wood.
Some more questions coming in from persons, right? Patricia has another question. She's asking, she wants to know, with the private investors, lenders, would it be prudent to know that they too are not into money laundering, and so they're not lending illicit funds?
Yeah, man, that's what I'm touch upon. So once the money is coming from a clean source, so I have to verify that funds. If I can't verify that the money is coming from a clean place, then I can't touch it.
Right. So there's no scamming around here. No illicit funds.
We don't play them games.
Right. So up and up, your source of funds will be verified, as it is with the banks. Your source of funds will be verified. We're making sure that these are legally obtained monies that are going to be using if you want to become a private lender for persons with mortgage, because you're saying you get good returns on that as well. So another question for you, because they might come in quick and fast. What is a vendor's mortgage?
Or maybe the question is more of a vendor take back, right? So basically, if you're buying a property from an individual and you're unable to source the full lending, the full funds to buy the property, that lender can say, you know what? They turn themselves into the bank right away and say, all right, I will give you an interest only on this deal, where you're making payments on the interest only for a duration of time, normally for a year. And that should give you enough time to clean yourself up to be able to can qualify for a traditional mortgage.
All right. So come over a little bit, Omar. Come a little bit in frame. So when
Sorry.
we throw it on together. Now,
No, man, no, I have to lean up. You know.
so we want to jump into some tips because people love the tips. They love the tips.
Mhm.
As your business is around helping people to get the best mortgage, you say it's not just about the rate, it's the terms, the conditions, everything goes there. Give us some of the tips of your trade. What are some of the things you negotiate on behalf of the clients for? Because some persons can take that and say, hey, I know what to look out for now with my mortgage. Some people
Mhm.
probably go pull up their mortgage documents, pull up the file and read through and make sure that they're being protected. What are some of the things that you would say, look here, if you're going to do any form of mortgage, make sure you look out for these things?
Well, the first thing is the interest rate, right? If you see a company that have interest rate far cheaper than or lower, I should say, than the competitor, you want to find out why. Like anything else, why is it lower? Why is it cheaper? And the first thing you need to do is to start to see where the payment goes in regards to your payment, your monthly payment. Is it going to the principal? How much is going to the principal versus the interest? More will always go to the interest overall, but however, you want to see how much of that is going to the interest because that is where your discount that you think you get, that is how they recover that money, right? In regards to the terms, do you want to do a 25-year mortgage or you want to do a 30-year mortgage, right? So the lower your amortization is, the faster it is for you to pay that mortgage off. A mortgage should never be a lifetime payment. You want to get out as fast as you can, so you can move on to build wealth other places.
All right. What about, prepayment penalty? Because a lot of people don't know that. What happens if I pay off my mortgage? I come into this inheritance or we just win some money and I want to pay off my mortgage. What should we consider with that?
Well, first, just to put it this way, in fairness to the lender, whether it be the bank or your private lender, you lend money to to an individual or a family, and the purpose of that is for you to make money. So if that person decide to pay that money off early, you still want, if because you've already allotted out that you're going to make 10%, or whether it be 5% or 2%, depends on the institution, right? So if the person come 5 years before, 3 years before the time to pay that debt off, you're not going to be happy. So you're going to want to have a penalty to at least recuperate more than have that person walk away and you left, especially if you have investors to talk to. You already tell the investors that I'm going to give you 2%, 3%, 10%, whatever that is. You can't go back to them and tell them that, well, the person paid the money off early, so you ain't going to get what we talk about or agree to.
All right. So final question for you. I tell you them I
Hold,
come in.
hold on. So, but if you're coming to money, right? For we no waste money. If you're coming to money, you don't necessarily have to pay it off before time. That means you can afford to keep the payment on and wait until your term finish. Then you pay it off. That's smart money. You're not just paying it off just for the purpose of peace of mind.
All right. So yeah, taught the things. A question coming in for you about credit score. What if I have a bad credit score because I was co-signing for a business?
Dog name is supper.
Dog name is supper. Poor Michael is gonna be there, ready for God. What do you mean?
Michael, here I know. The credit score basically is for lenders to look at the integrity of a client. And yes, I see it so many times where you try to help a family member or a friend and they leave you hanging. So depends on how low your credit score is. We will carry you to either some B lender, have the appetite if everything else is good, and the story as to why you end up with bad credit is believable, right? Or probably. Then you have some B lenders who will take you. A lender will not take you at all, which is most of the banks and other money lines. They won't take you. But the private will take you, and some B lenders will take you.
So yes, something can go on for Michael.
Something can go on.